Hello world, my name is Grace. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. It has been a hot minute since I've uploaded anything to my channel, about 2 years actually, so thank you very much for sticking with me. One of the last videos I uploaded a few years ago was a 2-year lock update, and somehow, magically, another 2 years has gone by, so I am here today with a 4-year lock update video. This video also serves as a bit of a reintroduction for me to my channel as I move forward creating content. So whether you're here for the locks or the vibes, or you just saw my video and you're curious, I'm very happy to welcome you to my corner of the internet. I also want to be honest and share that as of posting this video in the spring of 2025, I am not monetized, which means you have to watch ads on this video, and YouTube makes money off of this video, but I do not currently make any money off of my content. So it is a goal of mine in 2025 to be monetized. If you like what you see here and you would like to give me a like, subscribe, come say hi in the comments, or even watch another one of my videos or come along for the journey, I would appreciate that a lot. I had a bit of a rough start with my lock journey, and for those of you who haven't seen my neglect dread fail, pretty much I just stopped brushing my hair and very quickly ended up with a large mat of hair. I had a loctician and she pulled apart the mat of hair into about 70 beautiful locks, and ever since then I have been well on my way on the lock journey. After a pretty rough start, my locks have progressed very beautifully, and especially in the last 2 years, I've seen a lot of growth and I've been very happy with their progress. My locks are now really quite long. They are all the way to my hips and I can just about sit on the ends. I've only had my locks worked on professionally 3 times since I had them created 4 years ago. I've had them worked on once since I made my 2-year dreadlock update video, and that was in December of 2023. So I haven't had anybody give me a professional retwist since then. I also don't often retwist my hair myself. Every 3 or 6 months, usually after a really good cleaning, I spend a little time and I separate my locks at the scalp. Sometimes I even have to use scissors to cut them apart or really pull them apart. And then I'll spend a little time with a crochet hook. I'll neaten things up, and I do cut my hair and my bangs around my face every 3 or 6 months too. As for washing, my hair does get a little wet in the shower every single night, but when it comes to a big scrub and rinse, that's a bit more occasional. I would say it's about every 4 to 8 weeks. I don't use any shampoo or conditioner. In fact, I don't use any products really at all. Occasionally, if I remember, I'll put in a little bit of hair oil, usually something like jojoba oil, and I make it a point to not use any oil that's solid at room temperature like coconut oil. The past 2 years, I have felt more comfortable than ever with my locks, and I feel like I have really grown into my locks and my locks have really grown with me. I feel more myself with locks. I feel more beautiful, more feminine, more grounded, but also I have felt heavy. Not just physically because of the weight and length of my locks, but also a bit emotionally and energetically too. I have felt like the weight and length of them has started to get in the way a bit more, whether with sleeping, with the heat and humidity, maybe when working out, or even with certain hairstyles where I can't wear the same hairstyle for a long time because I'll start to get a headache. And for the first time in my lock journey, I want to be honest and share that I have had thoughts of cutting my locks. I started to have these thoughts last year around the 3-year mark, and it was really feeling like I was changing rapidly and my hairstyle wasn't changing as fast as I was. I know hair means different things to different people, and to some people it means nothing at all, but for me, as I was really changing on the inside, I felt like I needed that change to be represented on the outside. And this is a really full circle moment because I started the lock journey during a time of great change and during a very meaningful time in my life where I wanted a visible representation of both the joy and the sorrow of giving up control, of surrendering, and of letting go. When I started to have these thoughts last year, I found myself searching Reddit and YouTube and other places on the internet, really looking for support and looking for other people who may have felt the same way that I felt. I wanted to find someone who kind of talked about what it's like to be on the lock journey and really truly love and appreciate your locks, but also maybe be ready for a change. As of right now, some of those emotional and energetic reasons for wanting to cut my locks that I was thinking about last year have sort of lessened up, and now it's more of the physical reasons for wanting to cut my locks. I know some people have locks down to their knees or even to their feet or even extending off of their body. But for me, I have reached the point where my locks do feel a little too long and a little too heavy, and I am going to need a trim. I also want to honestly share that I know that I am not going to have my locks forever. And that's something I've realized in the last 2 years too. I know that this is not my forever hairstyle. I love my locks, they have meant so much to me, but I have so many other hairstyles that I want to try in this lifetime. I want to have a perm. I miss braiding my hair. I want to dye my hair other colors. I want to try other hairstyles. So for now, while I'm on the lock journey, I am one day excited to try something different too. All right, we are going to do some frequently asked questions. These are questions that I get asked all the time, either in the comments or in real life. So the first question is, do I have product buildup? And I don't use any products, so I don't have any buildup. Have I had thinning or breakage? Yes, I have, especially at the ends, but this does not bother me because I am always brushing out the ends of my locks. I get asked a lot if this is all of my real hair, and yes, it is. When I had my locks made 4 years ago, the loctician did put some extension hair at the bottom of some of my locks to even them out. I had some really short stubby bits, but that has long been brushed out years ago. The next question, do I dye my hair? No, this is all my natural hair color. It is a bit more blonde on the top or the ends where it sees the sun, a little bit darker underneath, but it's all my hair color. Do I have a favorite hair product? They are asking the wrong person. Again, I don't use any traditional hair products, so other than a very light oil like a jojoba oil, I am not putting anything in my locks. What do you do about frizz? Okay, well listen, the frizz is just frizzing and the fuzz is fuzzing. I went through a big sweater moment this winter, so I have had so much fuzz in my dreads, but I just honestly don't care and I don't do anything about it. The next question is, have locks damaged my hair? And I actually don't think so. I frequently brush out the ends of my hair, and when I do, the hair looks perfectly fine. It's actually really fun sometimes because some of my locks are really blonde on the ends, and then I go and brush them out and they have just a really nice dark brown color on the inside. So it's pretty cool. I think locks are actually, all things considered, a pretty protective style. Do I have a night routine? Well, when it comes to locks, I'm just honestly trying to get them out from underneath me when I'm laying in bed. Other than that, I would say my night routine is low-key annoying my boyfriend because I definitely get the zoomies at night, and I also somehow turn into a inferno. I am so hot at night. I also get asked, have I combined any locks or do I have any new locks? And I don't think so. There may have been 2 that were combined very early on because they were on the smaller side, but it definitely hasn't been anything in the last few years. I have around 70 locks, and I think that's pretty much what I started at 4 years ago. How do I handle lock fatigue or wanting a new look? Okay, obviously I have just shared that I have kind of been going through lock fatigue. I do feel like they are the same day after day, so the only thing I really do to change it up is I adjust the height of my half up, half down do. Sometimes I wear it right at the top of my head, other times it's a bit lower. I do have a couple videos about some of my hairstyles. I also use clips and beads to sort of mix it up, or honestly, I just change my outfit. If I'm having a lot of lock fatigue, I will put on some earrings. I have a lot of funky earrings, and I feel like that kind of changes the look of my locks. The next question is, have I cut my locks? And yes, I have cut some of my locks. If I get paint on them or like motor oil or something like that, I have had to cut a few. And I've also brushed out my locks, all of them, on 2 separate occasions. So the first time was around the 2-year mark in 2023. The second time was last spring around the 3-year mark. And I just spent a couple days and I brushed out the bottom of all of my locks, and I got about another like 6 to 8 inches of loose wispy hair at the bottom of every lock. I brushed out the ends because I really wanted to lighten the weight of my hair without significantly reducing the length of my hair. And I do think that my locks would be about 4 to 8 inches longer right now had I not brushed them all out on those 2 occasions. The next question is, what's one myth about locks I wish people would stop spreading? And my answer to this is, it's the age-old conundrum of judging a book by its cover. Because I have locks, I am X. Because my locks are this long, I am Y. And I really wish we would all just cut out judging people by their appearance. The next question is, would I do anything differently? And I thought about this, and the only thing I would maybe do differently is go for slightly smaller locks. This was actually the size that I wanted. I wanted thinner locks, but it just wasn't a reality with my hair type and the amount of hair that I have. I already have 70-ish locks, so to have them all this size, which this is the smallest one on my head, I would probably have 400 locks. So I don't know if that's feasible or even possible, but maybe if I had the choice of starting over to do that. And if I did ever start over again, I would definitely not start with any sort of neglect method or freeform method. I would just go right to the loctician and have them make my locks. So the last question is, will I have my locks forever? And the answer is no. But will I return to locks? Definitely. I love my locks, though I want to try other styles. I definitely see myself being on the lock journey for a while still, and then one day returning to the lock journey. Actually, someone recently told me that if I cut my locks off, I should save them to reattach them if I decide to go back. And I have heard of this, and while that might work for other people, honestly, I am cleansing the energy. I am purging the energy. These locks have seen some stuff. So if I ever cut them off, I am probably going to bury them and cry. Lastly, as I move forward with content creation, my channel will be changing a little bit. Locks are one part of me, but there is a lot more of me that I want to share online about creativity and self-improvement, self-help, travel, all of these things. So if you want to hear more about that, then definitely stay tuned. I have not niched down yet, so I'm always surprising the algorithm. So if you want to see me figure it out in real time, definitely stick around. I'm really grateful you're here, especially if you've made it to the end of the video. So wherever you're watching this, whenever you're watching this, I hope that you have an amazing day. And thanks again for being here with me. Ciao!